Next, let's do what's under the grass. The material of the small platform. Then we want to use another method for its material. Just use texture drawing. Then the material texture below has a specific direction. And in this direction, if we use the default texture, it is very difficult to achieve the effect we want. Or you came up with this effect. It will be relatively laborious, right? That's in the texture. We can see it has a lot of textures here. But what about these textures? They all belong to some of its built-in program textures. Then what I want here is, there will be some curvature from top to bottom. Random stripes, right? So stripes like this. Our best approach is, let's paint it ourselves. So, we are going to use texture drawing. What about texture painting? We don't need a guide to draw in other software. So well known. Our Blender. Its functions are relatively comprehensive. Almost all functions are available. It even has this video editing function. So some of the content involved, we don't need to go to external software to find. You can do it directly within our software. Then you want to perform arts and sciences rendering. We need to have a precondition. That is, we need to create a UV for the model. So what is UV saving? Let me explain it to you here. Let's first create a cube next to it. After creating the cube, we can put the shader editor below. Change to UV editor. So let's take a look. We select the cube. You can enter its editing mode. Everyone can see it. The 6 sides of this cube. Unfolded. Right? Unfolded. It is composed of 6 sides. Right? So we're in UV. You can see its 6 unfolded sides. This is actually a form of unfolding UV. So in terms of UV display itself, there's nothing too difficult to understand. It takes one of our 3-dimensional models, create some reduced openings, then subtract it. Make a flat surface. It's a bit similar. You received a courier box. I want to completely reduce this box, then smooth it out. It's such a process. So let's take a look again. Other objects. What does its default UV look like? For example, our sphere. Its UV looks like this. Then the top range. Because it is received in the center, become a point. So it's all triangles. Then the bottom is also the same. They are also triangles. Then let's look at, for example, a cone. What does a cone look like? Let's take a look. The cone looks like this. There is a circle at the bottom. Then let's take a look at the top. They are all small triangles, painted as a part of it. So we will find all objects are according to their own shape. There is a default way to expand a UV. Another example is our monkey head. As for the monkey head, it is more complicated. So take a look. The UV it expands looks like this. So, each object has its own UV. Then we have not used UV before. For example, when we made the tree above. Why not use UV? Because when we made this tree, texture on top, what are we using? It's this wavy texture. It is a program built into our system. So what about a program like this? In most cases, UV is not needed. It's not that it can't be used. No need for UV. It can also produce the results we want. So you don't have to save it. Then there are some specific grass items. We need UV. Without it, it would be difficult for you to draw it, right? Then let's take a look at our scene. For example, the effect of 2 L-shaped lawns. Wait a minute, we also need to use UV. Paint it with UV texture on it. Let's take a look at what its UV looks like. Let's go back to its UV editor. We enter its editing mode. Let's take a look. Its UVs will now have some problems. For example, let's select one of its faces. I want to select the top of it. You will find that in this L-shaped object, I selected the top of it, but in its UV module, we can't see the projection surface on it. The projection surface above it seems to become a line. It's not possible in this case. Because of this situation, we can't draw the texture. So in short, the UVs we unfold must make every surface all flattened in our square. It is within the range of our UV. You can understand it as only within this range. We send it to the printing factory. You can print some patterns on this packaging box. If there are some faces in our UVs, it does not appear to be a face. Of course, the pattern cannot be printed on this place. Then if we combine it into a box, our boxes will not have corresponding patterns on them either, right? So if you look at our graph, it doesn't have a correct UV. Then why? Why didn't those previous models have it? The reason is this model. How many times have we failed ourselves? Then we all know. If we create it directly, some default models, it has the correct UVs. But many times, we'll do some swipes on a model. Let's say I extrude it forward by a range. I squeeze it out like this. It has 4 extra sides. These 4 sides were not there before. It was reborn after I squeezed it out. Noodles produced by extrusion like this. We basically can't find it in UV. It is a very problematic existence. Or is it a bug? That other primitive side. In fact, there is still a correct projection, like this object that we've edited. We need to save UV for it again. After you save UV, only then will it get a correct effect. In this case, you can go and draw on top. It will have a good feeling. Right? Okay, then after we understand, let's take a look at the little elevated platform between us. The high platform in the middle is actually our original cube, just a little flattened. Then it feels like pulling out a small T-shape. So when we go into one of its, when UV is in a state, you'll still see the 4 corresponding sides of it. All 6 sides are present. It's just that the proportions seem a little different. It doesn't matter. Let's try it. How to save its UV manually. Take this cube as an example. It's a T-shape. After we enter its editing mode, press A to select all its faces. After selecting all, we use the shortcut key U key. Here you can do a UV mapping. There are many mapping methods here. We can use the first 3 here, or the 3 types from the second group. The first 3 means that you can draw some expanded UVs yourself. Line. Which side do I want it to be cut on? Then we press the U key to use the first 3 to expand. Then I will give him Shift H and display it independently. Let's try it. Let's use the middle 3 first. The 4th kind in the middle. Right? The 4th one is called Smart UV Projection. Smart UV Projection, let's click on it. It will help us expand a UV according to the angle. Let's take a look at the surface above. The upper part is here. The bottom is here. There are also 4 sides. Did you see it? It's all cut off. It's not a hexagonal surface connected together, right? Then we press A and U. It's this Smart UV Projection. What about the expansion above? What are they all based on? We draw the lines manually. Let's first switch to our selection line mode. So for example, I want to cut here. An opening of it. We need to cut the 4 plane edges. After selecting these 4 sides, our right shoulder can mark the seam edge here. In this case, what about these 4 sides? That's the opening we're going to make. Of course, if you only mark 4 vertical edges, you can't cut it completely. So we can mark it again. For example, I want to cut off the bottom. I also selected all 4 sides. Right-click and make a previous mark with a gentle edge. In that case, there is no need to mark it above. We'll just mark a status like this. After marking them all, press A to select them all. Press U again. This time we will not choose intelligence. Let's just choose based on angle or cooperation, or minimum stretch. You can try it. Okay, let's expand again. We will find the cutout bottom surface. Right? Because it's cut off on all 4 sides. So it appears alone. Then its sides and top. Because there are no UV incisions on the connected lines. So these 5 sides are actually connected together. It is such a range. Did you see it? No matter which way you choose. We just need to expand every aspect. Spread in a block like this in our UV. It won't affect. Let's draw our texture on this. You can also try other methods. Try them all based on the minimum stretch. The results are almost the same, because ours is simple enough. Of course, you can also use UV projection. Smart UV projection is also possible. Any of these methods will work. Actually, if we make some characters, or some more subtle editorial words, we actually have certain tricks for UV expansion. For example, how do we avoid UV seams, etc.? Of course, this part of the operation. In this case, we have not been able to design. In our place, you can make it. Just expand it this way. Then it has been successfully deployed now. Alt-H, let's return. Let's find a few more models that need to save UVs. Let's try it too. First of all, it's an L-shaped small grass screen. Its shape now UVs are incorrect. So we select all its faces. Press U key. Let's go directly to the previous one. Just Smart UV projection. Let it unfold for me. Then it is unfolded piece by piece now. Right? There are so many blocks. It doesn't matter. Just expand it. The same goes for the group at the back. Let's choose Smart Projection. Okay, this time it unfolds. But I think it's a bit wasteful. Waste of scope, right? There is something particularly wasteful, isn't it? So when we can go and expand, shrink a border around which it is placed, make it just a little more reasonable, isn't it? Slightly more reasonable. Or we can cut two pieces ourselves. For example, let's cut the upper part of it. Right-click, and let's go to the previous mark to sew the edge. Then also below. Let's also select it below. Right-click to mark seam edges. Then for the vertical items, we select a few core positions. Right? Right-click to mark seam edges. Press A to select all, and press U. We choose one. Choose another. Let me take a look. In this case, its position is pretty good, but it feels a little crooked. So we might as well come here casually. Let's take a look. Align vertically horizontally. Let's choose any direction. Try it again. Try to get our UV. Fill in the entire range as much as possible. Temporarily full. Why is this so? Because some of the paintings we will cover later. It will involve pixel issues and some images. That is our entire UV map. It's actually a pixel image. So if pixel images have pixel values. So if you create a very large image. But when we draw the UV, it only occupies a small part of it. That means a lot of pixels have been wasted. It doesn't have any effect on your picture, but it does take up a lot of pixels. So we can manually scale it. Let's make it slightly smaller. Combine. Be reasonable. Let me take a look. The two bigger ones are the top and bottom. In fact, we cannot draw the top and bottom surfaces. We only need to draw the side. So we can take it aside first. Let's make it a little bigger on the side. Let it fill our UV pixels as much as possible. Then they just find a place to put it. That's it. Because we can hardly draw the top and bottom edges. The other one I think doesn't look right. Okay, then as a whole, we will look like this first. The bottom one is a big cube. So it is now also one of the cubes by default. A state of UV. I think it doesn't really matter whether you save or not. It doesn't matter whether you save or not. Better save some. In this case, the area it occupies will be more reasonable. Okay, let's go back to rendering mode. Then we will have saved it next. After saving it, we are going to draw some small shapes on it. We are still Shift-H. Select it independently first. Then we switch to our material editor. It has a material by default. We will also disperse them directly. After dispersing it will turn into a black. It doesn't matter. We need to draw it here. It's a small piece of vegetarian food. The effect of a small vegetarian bar. Select model. We use shortcut keys. Control plus taper key. We've used object mode before. Of course, I also used weight mode. Right? When drawing that vertex group, we also used edit mode. What about this time? We come to texture drawing mode. What about after entering texture drawing mode? We can choose some of its brushes to draw. Of course, you see some colored brushes. Here are some of the brushes I installed later. Benjak. The case of Ben Sankey. And not used. Let's just use its default. There is one called Pint Hard. Just use this. Then we press the F key. You can adjust the size of our brush. Press F and pull left or right to adjust the size of the brush. Then if we go to paint now, in fact, it's impossible to draw. It will tell you that there is a missing association. The reason is that in our materials, there is no texture map to take over some of the brush effects we drew. So we are going to create a texture map here. Where to create it? In this position above. Did you see it? Let's click on this plus sign here. Let's just create a base color. Create a base color. It will ask you the ratio of width to height. Everyone, pay attention. The value given here is the pixel value. If your computer performance is relatively good, it is recommended that you use 4K resolution. In this case, the lines. The probability of such a small inhabitant appearing in the mosaic will be relatively small. If your performance is average, use 2K. 4K is 4096. In 2K, it's 2048. That's it. I have now set the resolution to 4K. Above is its name. Then the color below. That is, it defaults to a default color for this picture. What I wanted to do here. It's just a coefficient, or a relationship like a mask. So you make it default to a pure white, or pure black will do. Let's start with a pure white. Then click this to add. If that's the case, you will find that there will be an extra texture here. It's actually what we have in the texture. What image texture is created? That's it. It's just the image texture we created. It is empty. There is no texture map inside. And we built it like this. It is a pure white texture image. But this picture, not saved yet. Just in the memory of our computers. Let's not consider these for now. We connect it directly to the surface of the object. So you will see. It is a pure white picture. At this point we can choose this hard-edged brush. Then press the N key on the keyboard. After pressing N key, we find tools in the sidebar. Over here, you can adjust the color of our brush. What color do you want to paint? Everything is possible. Did you see it? You can paint any color. Then I will draw it casually now. We can use the material below. Then change back to our UV editor, or an image editor. Let's try to get into the image editor. You can see. It's actually an hour. Did you see it? Let's paint the upper surface and this side surface. Look, I'm going to draw a stroke now. Did you see it? It will draw from here to here at the same time. Of course you are in the image editor. After entering this location into the image editor, change the subsequent view to drawing. You can actually draw on this. I draw like this. At the same time, it will also be mapped to our 3D model. Did you see it? But since there are some locations it is not connected. So if you draw on a two-dimensional image, you see, our three-dimensional model may not be that continuous, right? So all we need to know is some of its working principles. I just want to draw black here. I just want to draw black. We can open up our current situation a little bit. Good. Then my next main step is to draw some vertical lines on the sides. The top and bottom sides are actually invisible, so you don't need to worry about it. Now let me adjust the size of the brush. Press F key to adjust, or there will be a magnet size on it. Did you see it? We can draw from top to bottom. Then the top and bottom drawings are outstanding. You don't need to worry about this. You just need to draw. Pay attention to the size of our brush. Will it be because we are closer or further away from the object? It can also become thicker or larger. The reason is that our size is actually pixels. When this pixel remains unchanged, if you are closer to the object, it casts 14 pixels relative to the object. It will be smaller. If you are far away from the object, the 14 pixels you put in, it's relatively bigger, right? So you can draw according to your own feelings. Some students will think of it. They say my painting is not straight, right? Twisty. Doesn't seem that beautiful. Is there a way? When I can draw, don't be so twisted. Of course there is. Some brothers. How to deal with it. Above we can see the brush. There is a brush anti-shake under the brush. Anti-shake is based on, just like walking a dog. Our radius here is 75. Let's try how it walks the dog. After we drag the brush, you will find that it will have a small red string. That's it. Just pull it away. Have you found? If I were to paint this way, it seems to be very smooth. If I turn it off, if I draw like this, you will find it doesn't seem that smooth, right? I call it a way of walking the dog. So, the larger the value, the longer the rope is. The smaller the value, the rope is relatively shorter. We can all try it ourselves. Do you think it's longer or shorter? What length do you think is suitable? Just use whatever length you want. They'll just draw some random pictures here. Slightly smaller. Then draw. Draw longer. After painting on the left, paint on the right. Right? A little thinner or a little wider is fine. Try to draw as far as possible. Draw ahead. You don't use to keep it a vertical or a very straight feeling. That's not necessary. Let's just draw it to the end. Good. Finish the painting in such detail. Let's widen it a little bit. Let's add a few more thick ones. Right? There's no need to draw too much. Just think about it. Switch over, and let's do 2 more. Okay, we want a feeling like this now. Some people say, "Teacher, you have drawn all this on top." It doesn't matter. We have set it above. Can't see. This place seems a bit unrealistic. Because of the angle, isn't it? So we can remedy that a little bit. What should I do with the drawing on it? You don't need to worry about one. If you really just feel uncomfortable. What to do? We switch the panel below to texture drawing. Switch to image editor. Then change the view above to draw. Let's take a look. Drawn to the upper plane. It's all here. We can put this brush. Remove anti-shake. Then change your color to white. It doesn't matter if you're too lazy to switch. Let's make the brush bigger. Paint the color behind. We can just press the Control key on the keyboard. Hold down the Control key to draw the color behind. Draw the previous color without pressing the Control key. You can yourself. You did it manually. Paint it away with the color on it. Then there will be no corresponding ones on it. It's so fun like this. In this case, we will draw some small plastic strips on the sides. After painting, one thing we have to do is, this picture is because you created it yourself. Draw it yourself. It is not saved now. It is by default. It will not be accompanied by our Blender file. To save, it is a separate image file, so you have to save it independently. We can do this in this image menu. Pay attention. Did you find this image menu? Is there a small asterisk in front of it? Note that I am now in the image editor. There will be a little asterisk here. It means this picture has not been saved. So let's click on the image. Then find the save inside. You can save it in the folder of our project. Of course, you can put it wherever you can find it. I will use this name by default. Click this to save. So if this is the case, the signal disappears. This picture is saved. We can go back to our left-sider editor. So this picture is what we drew. Such a small speedline effect. After painting, don't forget to switch from this context mode to object mode. Use the shortcut key Counter plus Table key. Return to object mode. Then Alt H returns to the scene. It is painted. But the final result we want, it's not such an effect. The effect we want should be, it is dark green. Dark green. It now draws black and white. How can I change it to a dark green? Very simple. We can pass through 2 nodes here. Come and make it happen. A node. But both can be achieved. For example, we can use colors. Color gradient. We said it before. Or use a mix of colors. You can mix colors. I use mixed here. Connect it. Note that it cannot be placed on channel A. It is placed among the coefficients. Then the black and white on it. Just ready for command. The position where the 2 channels AB appear. So you have to put it in the coefficients. At this point, if I change the A channel to a green, a light green, you will find it actually changed the small black strips we drew. Then channel B. Let's make it a little darker. That dark green spot. Right? Let's adjust it. Let's adjust the color of channel A again. It could be a little darker. Don't have too strong color contrast with the side next to it. Good. So now we can see. I'll turn off the wireframe first. You can see a very good effect. Isn't it? This is the effect. In fact, we can use the same method to achieve the effects on both sides. So now we have passed the method of art and science drawing. Just give it its basic color. But this material actually has another layer. What is the other layer? Have you seen the two sides of it? There must be a color distinction. In other words, its right side will actually be affected by sunlight. So the right side of it will be a little brighter. The area on the left is its shadow. So it's going to be a little bit darker. In this way, it is bright and dark at the same time. How should we deal with it? Also very easy to handle. We still remember. We have previously made a node that chooses 2 from 3. Then this node can be affected by light. That's when we were making grass up there. Used 2 out of 3 nodes. That is, a group of nodes. Remember? Let's do it again here. Good. CF plus A, we create a color transition. Let's create the shader below. Convert this RGB. Then we give it another shader. Let's use a slightly simpler one. Just comics will be fine. Let's connect it and change its type. We change from the default linear shape to long straight. Okay, let's export it. Make the white color a little more. Well, now we'll find out. If I did this, then its front side will be illuminated. Right, it will be illuminated. And on the back of it is a slightly darker color. So how do we combine these two results? Mix it together. It's actually quite simple, right? It's quite simple. We can combine these two sets of nodes. Let it mix into one piece. Let's put it below. Put it below. Then mix. That quick mixing operation. Hold down the Control key and the Save key. Let's right-click the mouse. Mix them up. After mixing, we need to find a way to mix. More suitable for them. We've used multiply before. Right? Multiplying is multiplication. What about the black part? Is directly multiplied by a 0. For example, let's say we fill up the coefficients. So the black part is 0. Just any color times 0. It is a black. That white is 1. What about white times any color? It's still the same color, isn't it? So what about black? It just turns black. Where was the white one before? It's the color of our upper channel. Is there a way? Don't let it be so dark. Of course there is. Right? It's our coefficient above. Who does this coefficient actually adjust? It's the intensity in this B channel. If the coefficient is 0, that's equivalent to the entire B channel. There is no reaction, no changes, has no effect. When this coefficient is gradually added up, it will actually take the intensity of this B channel, gradually add it to you. So we can convert the intensity of the B channel, slightly weaker. For example, we will give you a 0.5. When it's like this, we will find it's 2 channels AB. There will be some differences in color, right? We can be a little bigger, 0.6. Make it a little more obvious. Or the color above. We can brighten it up a little bit. A little brighter. It can be a little darker down there, 0.7. In this case, it's light and dark relationship. Will it become very obvious? Still 0.6. I don't want it to be particularly obvious. Okay, I feel very good now, right? In that case, we will use the material on the high platform. Leave it to its own devices. Good. Remaining material. Let's come back to the next class and continue talking.